Hey everybody, JC here with another T&I toy review, and today we're going to take a look at the new DC Collectibles DC Comics Supervillains Superwoman figure, which is part of the Crime Syndicate assortment. This 7-inch figure comes in your standard DC Collectibles type packaging. You've got the Crime Syndicate logo up at the top right corner, and then underneath that you have the DC Comics Supervillains logo. And then the figure is clearly displayed in the window box packaging. This figure basically has black and kind of a lightish gray highlight color to match the character, and then down below we have the name of the figure. Then on one side we have a darkened in image of the character, and then on the other side we have an image of the actual figure. And once again, it tells us this figure stands at 6.75 inches tall. Seems like that's just kind of the generic height that they're giving all the figures, even though most of these figures have been coming in much closer to around 7-inch figures. And then, like with all the other figures in this assortment, and really recently, this figure was sculpted by Gentle Giant Studios. Finally, on the back, we have a thumbnail image of the figure, a brief bio, and then underneath that all of the figures in the Crime Syndicate wave, which are out on shelves at your comic and specialty shops now. Okay, so let's get this figure open and take a look at what's inside. Here's a look at the figure outside of the packaging, and this is overall a very solid figure. In fact, probably one of the best female DC collectible figures I've come across, because basically it's got a nice looking sculpt, solid paint apps, and decent articulation. This is the most articulated female figure I think I own from DC Collectibles. So I really like the face sculpt. Now it does look like, you know, the skin tones, it looks like maybe she has a little too much blush on. I don't know how well it picks up on camera, but it's not horrid or anything, and I guess it could even be comic accurate, I'm not sure, but it just looks like she has a little bit too much blush on her cheeks. She's got red lipstick, which looks good, and she has very blue eyes. Her hair is all black. The hair is is very long hair, but they've sculpted it with a soft, you know, towards the bottom is a very soft, flexible type of plastic, so it doesn't really prohibit her moving her head, which is really nice. And then there's some, you can see some washes in the hair, some almost like silver streaks in her hair to kind of give it added dimension. She has this little half cape, which is actually you can take off. You can just kind of slip it up around her hair and take it off, so it is removable. You've got yellow on the underside, and then it's gray on the back side, and it's just a very soft vinyl type material like you see with most of the capes in the DC collectible line. Paint apps, you know, went over the head, and for the rest of the body, you know, most of the costume is blacks and light gray, so it's a nice mixture of black and gray essentially, with the upper body that's uncovered with the skin tones. And I think they did a better job with the skin tones on this figure than they did with like the Ultraman figure that we looked at yesterday. She doesn't look quite as pale as Ultraman did. So not a lot of washes though on the actual costume or anything, but still I think it looks pretty good. No paint blemishes or anything like that on my figure. And then also just one other thing on the cape, she's got the silver S symbol for Superwoman on her cape. Okay, so scale wise, this figure does just come in under 7 inches tall, so she is a little bit taller than 6.75 inches. Here she is next to the new 52 version of Wonder Woman, which unfortunately is nowhere near as articulated as this new Superwoman figure. And if you're not familiar with these Crime Syndicate figures, basically Superwoman is an evil version of Wonder Woman. But you can see they're about the same height. And then here she is next to her two lovers, Ultraman and Owlman. And you can see again they're about the same height. Okay, so the one drawback I have with this figure is this figure comes with no accessories. As I mentioned before, this character is basically an evil version of Wonder Woman, and like with Wonder Woman, she's supposed to have a gold type lasso. It looks more like a piece of gold barbed wire with like spikes on it, but you know, she does have a lasso, which she uses a lot, like in the Forever Evil storyline. So it's kind of disappointing that they didn't even like give it like attached to her belt or something like that, like they did with the Wonder Woman. And unfortunately, even if you had like a spare gold lasso lying around from another Wonder Woman figure or something, they've sculpted once again both hands in closed-fisted position, so she can't hold anything. So even if you had a lasso, you really couldn't use it very well with her. So that to me is a bit disappointing. Articulation wise, this figure is very nice. Like I said, probably the most articulated female DC collectible figure I've come across. Head is like with all the others, it's just on a standard ball joint, so she can't look back very much or look up very much, but she can look down some, and then she can look left and right. And as I said before, because the hair, the bottom of the hair is that soft plastic, it doesn't really prohibit her from turning her head any, which is nice. The other thing is kind of cool is you can kind of fit the cape underneath her hair if you want on various poses, so just something to note. The arms are standard ball hinge shoulders. She doesn't really have any problem getting the arm straight out and can do the arm all the way around. Again, the hair and even the cape, because they're soft vinyl type material and soft plastic, doesn't prohibit her from moving her arm any, which is nice. She's got the bicep swivel. She's got single jointed elbows, and then she has the swivel wrists with the hinge joint. She does have under her breasts, which you can't really see, she does have a swivel type joint. She can't really, not really ab crunch, you know, can maybe rock back and forth a little bit, but she does have a swivel there. No waist swivel. Legs are ball joints, so she can do the splits well. She can do her leg forward pretty good, out and back. She has the thigh swivel, double jointed knees. And she does have an ankle type pivot. Now the pivot is so-so. She's got these high heels, so she's got the up and down movement, and she's got some pivot there. But it kind of, with the way the shoe and the bottom of the leg are sculpted, it's kind of hard to get it to pivot to the side. So it's a little restricted, but there is technically an ankle pivot there. And then she has actually no peg holes on her feet. And she's got the high heels. Overall, this is a very solid figure. One of the best female DC collectible figures to date, I think. Definitely, if you're collecting the Crime Syndicate wave, you'll want to pick this one up. My only real complaint with this figure is that they did not give her her lasso accessory, which is a bit disappointing. Nor did they give her any way to hold it, since they gave her two closed fists. If they ever do a Wonder Woman figure with like basically this sculpt, I hope they at least give her an open hand like on the new 52 Wonder Woman, and do give her a lasso. But other than the not having the lasso, I really think this is a great figure and fits in nicely with the Crime Syndicate assortment. So, as I said, this figure is out on shelves now at your local comic and specialty shops, as well as your favorite online e-tailers like Big Bad Toy Store. So if you want to pick her up, start looking for her now. And that's my review. If you liked the review, give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, leave a comment, let us know what you think. And until next time, I'll check you later.